In the morning, I had a real pretty bright, colorful shirt that I was going to wear this morning. And y'all, I went off and left all my hang-up clothes in my car. And luckily, we're in a different bus this weekend because Andrew, we had a tire, Jeep tire that came through our windshield back at the end of March. And so it totaled our bus. And so we've just been in different buses and stuff. And so every week we have to take everything off the bus. So my car looks like I've been living out of it. And so luckily we were in this bus last weekend, so I had left this dress, only this dress, in the closet. And so I'm like, I'm gonna look like I'm in mourning out there. But I had a real pretty top that I went to Steinmart and bought, and it was my Joseph's coat of many colors. And, I wanted to be real colorful this morning, but that didn't happen. So I will just look like I'm grieving. And last night we were at a church, at the Alliance Church, I think it was, over in Anderson, Indiana. And the MC got up and he was talking and he was reading these bulletin board blurbs. And y'all, it was so funny. I sat there couldn't hardly sing for laughing and some of the stuff. And I just want to read, I stole his paper. I told him, I said, I want those. And I said, I've got to speak to a bunch of women tomorrow. And I said, some of these I think that they'll really get a kick out of. And listen to this one. It said, now these were actually posted in bulletin boards at a church. And one of them says, don't let worry kill you. Let the church help you. Think about it. Yeah. For those of you who have children and don't know it, we have a nursery in the basement. That could be a sign, I don't know. The low self-esteem support group will meet Thursday evening. Come in the back door of the church. The pastor will preach his farewell message, after which the choir will sing, "Break forth into joy." That ain't right. This was my favorite right here. The pastor urges ladies to bring their electric girdles to the pancake breakfast Saturday night. I don't know, but I've never had an electric girdle, but Andrew does. Andrew has two, as a matter of fact. Oh Lord! All right, I'm gonna hit the highlights of my life story. From the time that Tracy and I met, and then I'm going to go into what I'm going to speak about, because I feel like that it's important to let you know my past of being married. And I know in here today we probably have some that are married, we probably have some that are widowed, we probably have some that are divorced. We probably have some that are single and desperate. And, but it's funny because when you meet somebody and you fall in love with them, oh, you could just eat them up. You're so in love with them. And then after you marry them, you wish you had. the truth. Don't sit there and act like saints, ladies. I know. October 1985, the Perrys were looking for a bass singer. And so we put the word out, and Gerald Wolfe, who sings with Greater Vision, who was a real good friend of ours, heard that we were looking for a bass singer. So he called us one day and he said, hey, he said, I've got a guy that I'm friends with here in Morristown, Tennessee, and he said he's a bass singer, and he said, I've heard y'all sing. He said, no better than you sing, he should fit right in. And so Gerald, he said, I'll bring him down and y'all try him out, see what you think. And so Gerald loaded Tracy up in he had a little Toyota Corolla, and that's one of them little tiny cars. And so he made Tracy dress in a 3-piece suit just to come and try out for our group. And so when they pulled up in the yard at the house, now where I'm from in Georgia, the yard and the driveway is the same thing. And we just call it the yard. But anyway, when they pulled up, when Tracy finally got out of the car, was able to get out of the car, we looked at him and we said, well, the way he looks, he should be able to sing. And so we took him to our little church about a mile up the road, and we tried him out, and we decided that day that we wanted to stay a trio. And about 2 weeks, we told him, we said, if we decide to go this route, we'll call you and let you know. We had no intentions on calling him. And 2 weeks went by, and the phone rang, and it was Tracy, and he said, listen, he said, I know, he said, I did a bad job, and he said, Gerald had me dressed where I wasn't comfortable, and he said, I promise, he said, if y'all will give me one more chance, he said, I will do a better job. And my brother, Randy, and I, we were just dead set against it, and my dad was like, now, y'all, I believe this kid is a diamond in the rough. And we're like, he's something in the rough. We don't know. And, but anyway, we let him come back down, and this time, when he came on business. He had blue jeans on, cowboy boots, and a flannel shirt with a big old cowboy belt buckle. And he meant business. And so we tried him out, and he did do a lot better. The only thing was, Tracy and I hated each other. And we would I was dating a drummer that was in the group, and he knew it, and he loved me, and Tracy did. And so he tried to get the drummer to look at other girls to make me mad, hoping that I would break up with him, and that would be an end for him, and it worked. But we would do stuff to spot each other. And one day my grandmother died, and not that she would die every day, but some days she died every day. But this one particular on this day, my grandmother really died. And so 2 or 3 days later, we had her funeral, and me and my grandmother was very close, and so we came home after the funeral, and I was at my mom and dad's house, and Tracy came up there, and he said, let me take you to the mall. And the closest town was Gainesville, Georgia, which is about 30 minutes away. And I told him, I said, I don't want to. And he's like, but you've had a hard week, you need to get out. He said, let me take you and take you to the mall. And I said, I'm not going anywhere with you. And he's like, come on now, just one time, let me take you out. And I'm like, no, I don't like you, I'm not going. And so he kept on and on and on and just would not hush. And I said, okay, if you'll hush, I'll go. And so we went, and there was a sunglass stand standing there, and he bought me 2 pairs of sunglasses. They were $5 a piece. bought me a black pair and a white pair. He said, that way you got something you can wear with everything. And so, we wound up having a pretty good day. And so when we got home that night, I was getting ready to go to bed, and I thought, well, he's not too bad. Not somebody I on a date, but he's not bad, And so we started kind of talking, and then we started going to McDonald's. We didn't have no money, so we would split a fish sandwich and a Diet Coke and an order of fries. And so that was our everyday lunch thing. Well, one morning I get up and God said, this man is for you. I went back to sleep. I'm like, God, I know you don't make mistakes, so therefore, I know I didn't hear you right, so I'm going back to sleep. I'm going to get up and I'm going to try this again. Well, I woke back up, got up, and God said, this man's for you. And so on November 28, 1987, we took our vows for better or for worse. Genesis chapter 2, verse 24 said, therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and he shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And that's our wedding picture. They laughed at me because I had a hat on. And I was like, well, I was trying to do anything to get a little hot. But that was, this November would have been 32 years. And we didn't have the perfect marriage. We had our ups and downs. Those people who say that they never argue, they never fight, they never fuss, I question that kind of marriage.
Yeah.
Because you're human. You're going to have things in your life that's going to come up that you're not always going to agree on, and that you're not always, you're just not going to see eye to eye. When they want to watch ESPN every single day, and the ESPN news after it's repeated 25 times. It's not going to change. Dallas won over the Eagles, so that's not going to change in 5 hours. And you're just going to have that, And when they leave their underwear on the floor, and you're like, the clothes hamper's right here. Can you not take 2 seconds to pick them up off the floor? But you know what I found out? That if those clothes are laying there on the floor, that means they're there in your life.
Amen.
You have them. On April 29th, 1989, Tracy and I were expecting our first child, little girl, and I woke up one morning and had a miscarriage. Probably, that was probably one of the hardest things at that time that Tracy and I had to face. And because, while we were talking about getting married and stuff, and sometimes, ladies, girls, if you're single, we get so busy planning a wedding that we don't think about planning a marriage. A marriage is where rubber meets the road. A wedding is beautiful and costs a lot of money, and it's for other people to see. A marriage is paying bills, being sick, sometimes having babies, sometimes losing. That's a marriage. That was hard to get through for us. Then on November 17th, 1995. When does this keep November 17th, day after my birthday, 1995. We had Jared, August 22nd, 1991, and he was a miracle. Cord was wrapped twice around his neck, and another 24 hours he would have been born dead. And so Jared is what we call our rainbow baby, and he's a miracle. And but on November 17th, 1995, we were on the road in West Plains, Missouri, and I woke up. I was 7 months into the pregnancy. Woke up, my water broke. They rushed me to the hospital, and when we got there, they done an ultrasound, and the nurse looked at me, and Tracy was downstairs checking me in. The nurse looked at me, and she said, "Well, you do know your baby's already dead." And so there in West Plains, Missouri, they did an emergency C-section, and I laid there on that table and knew that this would be different from what it was when Jared was born, because I would never hear this baby cry. And then later on, when I got to the room, they brought him in to me, and totally perfect little boy, and his name was Logan, and that was another difficult time in our life that we went through. Difficult with our singing, because Tracy and I, looked at each other and we said, all we've ever done is go and tell people that Jesus Christ is the answer to every problem that they will ever face and that they will ever have. And then here we are, holding a totally lifeless little boy, our son. It didn't make sense at all. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to thine own understanding." There's just going to be some things in this life you're not going to be able to understand, and God don't want you to. Because if you understood it all, you would never trust Him. We would never know what using our faith was if we always had roses and candy all the time. It took a long time to get through that. A lot of depression, a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness. But God and His grace and His mercy. August 13th, 2010, Tracy had a heart attack. Took him to the ER, and they told us, they said he's going to have emergency open heart surgery. He had open heart surgery. The surgeon came out, and he said, Tracy at the time was 44 years old, and the surgeon came out, and he said, "This is the worst heart," he said, "that I've ever operated on for a man his age." And he said, if he don't lose 100 pounds, he said he will not live to see 50 years old. And so we started on a journey of totally, where I'm from, down in the mountains of North Georgia, everybody there cooked in lard and grease. We ate gravy and biscuits every morning, and just, that's just the way it was.